What, if anything at all, was the religious atmosphere of the Utah Highway Patrol? And do you think that the LDS Church had significant influence in either the Highway Patrol or perhaps even the American Fork Police Department, if you knew people in the police department?
So actually, when I hired on in 1972, I was quite surprised that there was not a closer relationship with the church. In fact, there was quite a bit of activity that I thought wasn't appropriate, such as drinking. For example, they'd have conventions, and my wife and I would go to these police conventions, and there'd be 3 big vats of cold beer, and there wasn't anything for the kids. And that was the atmosphere from through the 70s clear up into the mid-80s, 1980s. That's since changed, and I'm grateful for that.
A lot of this is based on the series Under the Banner of Heaven, but in the TV series, the police detectives and the officers refer to each other as brother and sister, and even to the suspects as brother. And given my limited knowledge with law enforcement officials, I had never seen that happen before. And I'm wondering, did you see that happen? Was this a common thing?
Never in 30 years.
Okay.
Not with any agency did I ever see that.
Before your first encounter with Dan Lafferty, were you aware of the Lafferty family? Had you heard about them by reputation or seen advertisements for Watson Lafferty's chiropractic service or anything dealing with the Lafferty family?
I knew nothing about the Lafferty family. Before my first contact with Dan, I did read an article that he had published in the newspaper, an editorial about his constitutional views in regards to law enforcement and the laws that were on the books at that time. And that was my first exposure. He was running for sheriff, and he'd written an editorial saying that the majority of the laws on the books were unconstitutional because they prohibited life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. He said that the only legal law enforcement in the state was the elected sheriff. All others were appointed by the executive branch and therefore had no jurisdiction, were not legal. And that's why he was running for sheriff. And if he made sheriff, he wanted to eliminate a lot of the laws that he felt were unconstitutional.